Now let's think about setting the font size in our sidebar and our story. And there are a number of ways to do this. We could create a class style and apply it to that text. Or we could simply redefine the P tag. If you think about it, there's a paragraph tag around every paragraph in this story and the sidebar. You see the paragraph appear here and the P tag displayed in the tag selector as soon as I've selected some text in one of these paragraphs. So if I redefine the P tag or the paragraph tag within the story and the sidebar div, I can change the size and even the line spacing of my text without having to apply the style to all of the text. I can just change the paragraph tag and it will instantly change all of the text in that entire section. So let's create a new style that is P within story. So redefining the paragraph tag when it appears within story. And what I want to do is change the size of the text and also the line height, which is what controls spacing between lines. So let me set the size of this to 90 and let me choose % again. Now you may remember that we set the size of the text in our nav bar in those navigation links to 90% to make it just a little smaller than the default setting we have for the page, which we chose as medium. Font sizes in CSS can get really confusing because there are so many options. One of the really common options that people use is pixel or points. So I could set this to 24 pixels or to 12 pixels, or I could use a point size. And if you're familiar with print, that may seem like a logical option. But it's not necessarily the best choice, especially if you're designing with accessibility in mind. Think about it this way. Your user has the ability to override the text sizes on your page. If you use relative sizes like small, medium, and large, and then use percentages like 90% or 110% to make that text a little smaller or a little bigger. So a lot of people enlarge the text on their screens. And the idea behind using relative sizes is that you can at least still have the same hierarchy of elements on your page. So if I set my headlines to be large and extra large, and my main text size to be medium, then whether my visitor has enlarged the text in their browser or reduced the size of the text, I'll still have a relative difference between the main text size, the biggest headline, and the next biggest headline on my page. So for those reasons, a lot of us use small, medium, large, extra large, and then use percentages. People who are really, really into this like the M's or even the X's as a size. M's, just so you know, are named after the letter M. The idea being that the size of an M is based on the default font size of the letter M in whatever font and text size is displayed on the page. X's are very similar, but they're based on the size of a small x. If you choose M's or X's, especially when you're setting line height, they will adjust based on the displayed font size on the page. And they're very strange sizes. You'll end up with 1 or 1.2 or 0.5 when you're using M's and X's. Because that gets so complicated so fast, I'm going to stick with small, medium, large, extra large, and percentages for this series. But if you see M's and X's being used on the web, that's what that's about. It's about trying to create relative sizes that adjust based on the user settings in their browser. So keeping it a little bit simple here, I've got a base font size on this page of medium. I'm going to make the text in my sidebar 90% of that. And I'm going to make the line height 110%. So I can just type in 110%. And when I apply this, notice I get an instant effect because I'm changing the P tag, which is already applied to this text. So click OK. And now you see I have text that's a little bit smaller than the default. This is still set to the default. And I have line spacing that's a little bit bigger than the default line spacing. And that makes that smaller text just a little easier to read on the page. Now let's create a style for the text in our sidebar. So again, with my cursor placed anywhere in one of these paragraphs, if I choose the New Style button, I can easily get my sidebar P. That's redefining the paragraph tag in sidebar. And for this one, let's do something a little different just so you can see the effect. Let's make this one 110%, making it much bigger than the default. And let's make the line height 120%. And when I apply that, you see I get very big text, very spread out. I think actually I'm going to leave it at the default setting. So if I simply remove that, it'll stay at the medium size, but I'll let it stay at the bigger spacing. And now you see you have a lot of control over how text is displayed when you use CSS. You can change line spacing, you can change font size, and you can do it precisely with points or pixels, or make your site even more accessible by using relative sizes like percentages.